With all the craziness of a Trump versus Biden race, there's actually a possibility that Nancy Pelosi could become president. Both Joe Biden and Kamala Harris seem to be confused as to who is leading their ticket. Plus, President Trump presides over an historic Middle East peace agreement. All that and more. I'm Bobby Eberle. This is a 13-minute news hour.
And God bless the United States of America.
All right, friends, welcome to the show. Happy Wednesday. I hope you're having a great week. If you're new to the show, thank you so much for tuning in. We're going to start with presidential politics because we are in the heart of the season. It is crunch time. It is coming down to the wire, and it's also 2020, which means everything is upside down. Things are crazy. There's COVID. There's people out of work coming back to work. There's pushes for mail-in voting because the Democrats know that's probably the only way they can win. And it leads to craziness, it leads to uncertainty, and it leads to scenarios that are just mind-blowing. Plus the fact that when President Trump won, some of the states were so close, and those states are in play again. Let me put this up on the screen. I want to start with this map from 2016. All right, so in this case, President Trump beat Hillary Clinton 306 to 232. There's the map, and this is what I used for 2020 as kind of my baseline. So I was looking at all sorts of scenarios. And I personally think President Trump's going to win big. There are people who don't respond to the polls. You talk about this shy Trump voter that are giving misleading information to pollsters. Plus, Democrats are always oversampled. I think he's going to win big. But because of these battleground states, because of the margins were so close last time, all you have to do is flip a few states and you come up with some weird scenarios. Take a look at this map. All right, so in this case, this is one of the models that I was looking at for 2020. And all I did was take the 2016 map and flip Wisconsin, Michigan, and Arizona. And what do you get? Boom, 269 to 269. The nightmare scenario, a tie in the Electoral College. And what happens then? This is what I wanted to go into because this is the Pelosi scenario, and it's educational to see what our Constitution actually spells out. Because November 3rd, Election Day, is just the start of the process, folks. The real voting, the real key per our Constitution, occurs on December 16th. That's when the Electoral College meets, our electors, our people that we pick to actually cast the vote that the popular vote says, go for it. So, December 14th, they'd meet, and assuming no electors break from what they're bound to do, you need 270 to win. No one would have it. So what would happen next? Well, the Constitution spells out that the ultimate arbiter, the final say, is Congress. They're the ones who pick it. But it's not this Congress. It's the next Congress. It's the new people who are elected. So when January 3rd comes around, December 14th resulted in a tie, 269. January 3rd, the new Congress is sworn in. New senators, new representatives. The first thing in the House, the first order of business following swearing in, following the establishment of the new Congress, is to elect the Speaker. So now we'll have a Speaker. So assuming the Democrats hold the House, you'll have Nancy Pelosi. If the Republicans flip it, we could end up with Kevin McCarthy. But if the Democrats hold it, we've got Nancy Pelosi. So then the Constitution says that this new Congress will determine the president and vice president. The president is determined in the House. The vice president is determined in the Senate. So you might be thinking, oh my gosh, Democrats control the House, Republicans control the Senate. It could be split, but not necessarily, because the way the House picks it, it's not the whole group of people coming together and, oh, Democrats have a majority of representatives, so they're going to clearly vote for Joe Biden. No, each state gets a vote. So the delegations will come together. All those delegates from representatives from Texas, say, they come together and they vote. They vote together and they either pick Trump or Joe Biden or maybe someone else. And that is Texas's one vote. California gets one vote. South Dakota gets one vote. And that all comes together. So the way it looks now, Republicans actually have majorities in 26, 27 states compared to Democrats 22. Obviously, that will all change because this will be the new Congress, but each state comes together, has a vote, and that becomes the state's one vote. And that is how the president is elected. Then on the Senate side, the vice president's elected, the senators just come together, they cast their vote. But the thing is, there is no timeline for this. There is no saying that you have to have this done by a certain date. The president and vice president's terms expire at noon, January 20th. Regardless, their term is done. The term of the Speaker of the House has just begun. So, Speaker of the House is third in line. So, if the House and the Senate haven't come to an agreement, haven't reached these votes yet by January 20th, Nancy Pelosi, or whoever is Speaker, would actually become acting president. They have to run the country because the terms of Trump and Pence, these first terms, will end January 20th. Now, hopefully they'll be reelected and go on to a great second term. But if not, if there's some delay, Nancy Pelosi would become acting president. And it just leads to a whole new crazy scenario because in order to be acting president, she would have to resign as speaker. You'd end up with a new speaker, but eventually they'd vote and come up with the real president and real vice president. So hopefully we don't have to have any of that stuff. And hopefully we will just have a resounding victory from President Trump, Vice President Pence. But that's the scenario of a 269 to 269. That's how it all works out. It's absolutely crazy. All right, next, we got to talk about Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. But first, if you're new to the show or haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. And when you do, please hit that bell so you'll be notified. We're making our push for 100,000 subscribers by Election Day. 100K by Election Day, and we could do it with your help. All right, so let's talk about Joe Biden and Kamala Harris because this week has been strange. You know, I've been busting on Joe Biden from the beginning. He's losing it, folks. At these speeches, he seems out of breath. He seems incoherent. He says weird stuff. And there's always been this talk. You've seen memes, you've seen other things, that he is just a placeholder, that Kamala Harris is ready to jump in as president, might even actually be leading the show here because Joe Biden is getting further and further out of touch. This is what the talk is. Well, based on all that talk, it just seems really weird what happened this week. Here is Kamala Harris on a speech on Monday.
Need to make sure you have a president in the White House who actually sees you, who understands your needs, who understands the dignity of your work, and who has your back.
All right, blah, 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 Democrat talking points, same thing. We need a president that has your back. That's what she says. Then she says who that president will be.
A Harris administration together with Joe Biden.
So what? A Harris administration along with Joe Biden. Now, she flowed into a correction about the Biden-Harris administration, Biden as president and everything. But let's listen to that one more time.
A Harris administration together with Joe Biden.
All right, so that was a slip up, right? You can just chalk that up to a slip up. That was Monday. Then yesterday, Joe Biden was in Florida because he has to visit Florida because he knows he's slipping in the polls there. It is not looking good for him in Florida, so he had to make a trip over there. He's talking, and Joe Biden says this.
Harris-Biden administration is going to relaunch that effort and keep pushing further to make it easier for military spouses and veterans.
What? Okay, so it's one thing for one of them on the ticket to slip up, but both of them? I mean, it's awkward for the vice president to talk about her administration. That's awkward. But then for Joe Biden to follow up the very next day?
Harris-Biden administration is going to relaunch that effort and keep pushing further to make it easier for military spouses and veterans.
You know, I don't know what to say. Yesterday was such a strange day for Joe Biden. First he says that, talking about a Harris-Biden administration. Maybe that's what's really going on. But then last night, he's speaking at an event, Hispanic Heritage Month. He's introduced by singer Luis Fonsi, and here is how the introduction goes.
I'm honored to present Vice President and the future President of the United States, Joe Biden.
Unreal. all 5 people, which seems to be the limit of Joe Biden's. It sounds so lame. They're clapping, they end clapping. He's still not out there. He can't find his way out on stage. But eventually he gets out there and he gives us the ultimate in cringe and pandering. Check this out.
I just have one thing to say. Hang on here.
All right. There you go. Dance a little bit, Joe. Come on.
I tell you, my man. I tell you what, if I had the talent of any one of these people, I'd be elected president by acclamation.
Absolutely unreal. This is Joe Biden's those people moment. You see it before. Those people are so great. Those people are so talented. This time, when he's talking about those people, the person singing the song is the guy right next to him. He's so lame. I mean, this one ranks right up there with AOC's when she's speaking to Black Caucus Gathering and she says, "It ain't wrong that you're doing this stuff." I mean, so lame. Joe Biden doesn't even know. He couldn't even say Hispanics. He says Hispanics. I don't even know what that is. But that's Joe Biden, and that's his day talking about Harris-Biden administration. Just bizarre. I don't know what to think about it. So next we're going to move on to some real news, some real accomplishments, and that is President Trump bringing people together from Israel, UAE, Bahrain to sign deals normalizing their relationships, setting up embassies, exchanging diplomats, working on real relations that lead to peace and commerce and stability in the Middle East. This is what he did. President Trump organized this. He negotiated this. He brought these people together in what's being called the Abraham Accords. And here's the president.
We're here this afternoon to change the course of history. After decades of division and conflict, we mark the dawn of a new Middle East. Thanks to the great courage of the leaders of these 3 countries, we take a major stride toward a future in which people of all faiths and backgrounds live together in peace and prosperity.
Wow, it's just amazing. It's absolutely amazing. And to put in context how significant this is, President Trump sums it up like this.
In a few moments, these visionary leaders will sign the first 2 peace deals between Israel and the Arab state in more than a quarter century. In Israel's entire history, there have previously been only 2 such agreements. Now we have achieved 2 in a single month, and there are more to follow.
In the entire history of the nation of Israel, they've had 2 such agreements. 2. President Trump just doubled that. He just doubled it, and he said there's more on the way. This is significant. The signing was awesome. The pictures were awesome. Real accomplishments on the foreign policy side. He's already excelling on domestic policy. Foreign policy, too. It's absolutely awesome. So how'd the media react and the Democrats? They blasted. They downplayed the gathering. All they talked about was the fact that people got together and they weren't social distancing. The media had no problem with this at all and never does when people are getting together to riot by the thousands or tens of thousands that we've seen over the summer. Media said nothing about that. Absolutely nothing. Now we have this agreement to lead to better relations in the Middle East, and the media ignore it. Nancy Pelosi called it a distraction.
Good for him for having a distraction on a day when the numbers of people who are affected and the numbers of people who are dying from this virus only increases.
It's just unreal. It's sour grapes. It's the media, the Democrats, not knowing how to respond to actual policy initiatives, actual accomplishments. They have nothing but hate. It's only an anti-Trump agenda and a pro-left-wing socialist policy implementation. That's what they want. They want power. They want control. They want to put socialist policies in place. And to do that, they have to take down President Trump. And they've tried every step of the way. Now he succeeds at this level, and they don't know what to do. It's just bizarre. So next, I want to talk about the woke mob and colleges and universities, because that's where we see it. We see it just amplified on these campuses. And next, we're going to see the University of Chicago taking their turn, because now for admissions this year in the English department, the University of Chicago is saying that we are only going to look at applicants who want to study Black studies. That's it. If you're not interested in Black studies, we're not going to be interested in you. And here's the story. For the 2020-2021 graduate admission cycle, the University of Chicago English Department is accepting only applicants interested in working in and with Black studies. English as a discipline has a long history of providing aesthetic rationalizations for colonization, exploitation, extraction, and anti-Blackness. Our discipline is responsible for developing hierarchies of cultural production that have contributed directly to social and systemic determinations of whose lives matter and why, the statement continues. What? I don't even know what they're saying. The statement goes on to say that part of their job is to get rid of persistent anti-Blackness. That's the job of the English department, according to the University of Chicago. And they're not alone. Other universities are doing this too. University of Pittsburgh is requiring a class on anti-Black racism, and I'm sure they'll get a big helping of anti-Americanism and white guilt to go along with it. But that's what's going on colleges and universities. Folks, that's our show for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe, and when you do, please hit that bell so you'll be notified, and we'll see you next time. I'm Bobby Eberle. This is a 13-minute news hour. Okay, friends, thanks so much for watching. And before you go, please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell so you'll be notified. And here's a special video just for you so you can watch even more of the 13-minute news hour. And don't forget to check out GOPUSA.com for the best in conservative news and commentary. We'll see you next time.